Welcome back. You're tuned in to Bazaar Morning Call here on CNBC-TV18. Well, Vinati Organics, they came out with their set of numbers. And more than the past quarter, I think the street wants to understand what's the way ahead on the demand front. To help us out with that, we're joined by Vinati Saraf Mutreja, the Managing Director at Vinati Organics. Hi, Vinati. Morning. Thanks so much for joining in. Well, there was some bit of weakness that we saw in the past quarter. Can you explain what's happening across segments? Well, you get most of your revenues, as we understand, from the exports markets. So what's the demand situation like first up? And has quarter two started off on a better note? Is it looking better than quarter one?
Sure. Good morning. Globally, most chemical companies have announced a soft year going ahead. And 60-70% of our sales are dependent on exports coming from North America and Western Europe. And we are seeing a slowdown in those geographies starting, I would say, March onwards. In fact, we were well aware in March itself that for the next 6 months, most of our major customers would be destocking high inventory levels. Actually, what had happened last year, if you see in Q3 and Q4, most customers had purchased too much product, in fact, more than we had anticipated. And hence, the second half of last year was very good. But in the beginning of this year, they realized they're sitting on too much inventory. Maybe they were scared because of COVID and high freight costs, which has all come down and everything is normalized. Q2 looks, it will be similar to Q1. This destocking will continue up to September, October. I expect recovery in most of our product segments starting October onwards.
Amongst your three segments, which one has seen the most pressure? Could you just provide a little more color on that?
Yeah, absolutely. ATBS was the highest performer last year, especially in second half. And that is, in fact, seeing the biggest degrowth also and the biggest destocking effect in the last 4 months and also going ahead for the next 2 months. IBB remains stable business. So do our other niche products. Butyl phenols, in fact, we're seeing a slight growth starting now. We are able to penetrate better into the market.
Vinati, hi, good morning. One is destocking because people bought too much. And you say that'll continue, perhaps will normalize only by October. What about pricing? Vinati, if you can talk to us a little bit about that. How is that likely to pan out, next 2 quarters?
Actually, incidentally for us, pricing hasn't had a big impact. I know most raw materials are falling, but for us, while some have fallen, some have also remained same, such as MTB, which is our biggest raw material from which we make IB. So prices have remained more or less stable. It's the volume that has dropped. I see similar trends in Q2. Butyl phenols, there's some softening in pricing, but not in other segments like IBB, etc.
All right, Vinati, when do you expect the merger of Viral and Vinati to be done by? If you could give us a broad timeline out there. And also at peak, butyl phenol will contribute, I think, around 700 crores, right? When does it start showing up in your books?
Sure. I think for the merger, we should ask that question to NCLT. We've gotten the shareholders' approval, the lenders' approval. It's just been pending for the last approval from NCLT. It's really up to the courts when they take up our hearing. What was your next question on butyl phenols?
Butyl phenols.
Yeah, this year we will do about 200 to 300 crores in revenue. Full potential is about 400 to 500 crores, yes.
I think last time you had indicated that FY24 revenues will be flattish. Considering in Q1 the top line has degrown, Q2 is also going to be weak. What can you guide for the full year now?
Sure. I think the revenues still I would maintain, we can maintain last year's revenues given 2 things. The degrowth in ATBS will be compensated by the growth in butyl phenols, as well as if the merger goes through, which I hope it should in the next quarter at least, then we will see about 150 to 200 crores revenues coming from antioxidants. So given all that, we expect to maintain about 2,000 crores in revenues this year as well.
All right, Vinati, since things are quite uncertain, have you revised your capex plans or are you sticking to what you had laid out earlier?
Capex remains as it is because that's a long-term view. Our long-term view still remains positive. In fact, even as far as ATBS is concerned, we are going ahead with the new line, which is expected to come on stream next year by March, April. The new products that we are getting into the anisole derivatives, MEHQ, that's on track as well. Wakefall, also isoamylene derivatives. So no change in Capex.
Capex earlier was what, 580 crores, right? And 240 has been spent.
Sorry, please repeat that.
The total Capex, Vinati, for the year, I think that was drawn out was approximately 600 crores, 580, 600 crores?
That's right. That's spread over 18 months, but about 40% of that has been spent. The most of the expenditure happens towards the end of the capex cycle.
Yeah. Vinati, sorry, just one last question from my side. Slightly macro-ish. I mean, I don't know if that has implications. We got numbers. We're getting very pretty dire economic numbers out of China over the last 2 weeks or so. All outright deflationary kind of situation, at least for now. If that were to continue, I mean, what does it mean for raw material prices generally? You said things are steady for now because it got balanced. Some fell, some did not fall, etc. But do you think it's going to be a big factor over the next, for the foreseeable future?
See, generally now what I have heard is because of China dumping, a lot of prices are falling. We do see that in some segments, China economy itself hasn't recovered, as the demand in China is slow. So they are dumping across geographies. I'm really not an expert because the China effect has less effect on our business as such. Because we compete less with them, and also we are in niche products where we have contracts in place.
Okay, all right. So that's why the Vinati Organics stock is also treated differently. I mean, you're up on the specialty curve,
and the margins we have more or less been able to maintain. If you compare the margins year on year, they haven't changed significantly.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we'll leave it there. Vinati, great to speak with you. Appreciate you joining in. And thanks very much for taking the time speaking with us here on CNBC TV18. Well,